This is my post on Mary. I'll just read it. But the pictures are so beautiful with it, too, because they just give you the feel like you saw. This is your fair warning. The following post is a mystical post and may change your life forever. I know in my inner being that it has the power to do so. So if you approach this post, smile in your heart. Enter into a silent place, like when you were playing in the sun as a child with no one rushing you. I took myself, or more so, I was prompted to go on a mystical journey to the country of Turkey. The week before I left, I suddenly turned into Bilbo Baggins from the book The Hobbit, and I did not wish to leave my hobbit hole. Joseph Campbell calls this the initial refusal of the call, like Luke Skywalker in the first Star Wars. I can't go to Alderaan, he said, but we know with a name like Skywalker that he has to return to his heart center and go where the higher forces invite him to go, because he was too scared to go before. But anyway, I'll keep reading. So I said yes, again, of my own free will, and I went. One thing I learned on this ego-shedding journey is the key to enter into a mystical experience is love. I loved that a creator and the angels and Mary and John the Beloved and the Holy Spirit, or whatever names you understand these beings as, because certainly they are beyond a name as we look at names on earth. But it was such a tenderness in my heart to respond and appreciate their taking the time and care to watch over me and call me on to a new, richer, deeper experiencing of life, far beyond my wildest imaginations. I could sit with you for 8 hours straight right now, and you literally would not believe the magic I experienced in the quiet moments of my own heart. But I'm writing this here because I promised myself it is part of my love for those around me that whatever I experience, however it permeates my DNA or my spirit being or my nous or my soul, I want to give the love that I took in freely to you all. I want the whole world to have it. That song from the late 70s came to my mind while I was there. I remember it as a child. I'd like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. That's the song I'd sing. But they sold out that song, if I remember correctly. It turned into a Coke commercial. I'd like to give the world a Coke. But anyway, I put, Dear God, that's so appropriate for this post, too, because we can have such a rich and beautiful inner experience and then commercialize it or reduce it to words and try to shove it in a bottle for consuming, like a beautiful love being reduced to lust or magical ways of being to enter into a spiritual existence being reduced to rules for how to kneel during church. But by Aslan's mane, Aslan is the lion in the Narnia books, but I said, by Aslan's mane, by God's heart, we can know we aren't perfect, and we will take missteps, as Jason Mraz so aptly says in this song that kept coming to me while I was there. He said, nothing's going to stop me but a divine intervention. I reckon it's again my turn to win some or learn some, but I won't hesitate no more, no more. I cannot wait. I'm yours. That's part of the song that kept coming to me there, just surrendering, but which after love with a capital L, being the initial key for the mystic. Surrender and awe are the final ingredients. You surrender to the higher love that cared enough to bring you on this journey, that cared enough to help you remove one layer of pain and trauma and unforgiveness and superficial loving of yourself and others, that cares enough to lead you to this post, that cared enough to carry you through your deepest griefs and sorrows and loneliness and loss, and yet soars with you in the connections and the loves and the joys and bliss. What gives us the poet heart? I don't know. I know I have experienced a tremendous amount of pain and heartbreak and heartache and self-doubt and self-criticism and self-punishment for stupid things that weren't even wrong. Why are we so easily able to reject people instead of open our hearts and embrace them? It's so important we do the work to bring healing to the deep places of our hearts. So I was on this adventure with all German-speaking companions. One woman from Canada braved the German speakers with me for the first week, and then she left, and I had about 10 more days without her. But I refused to let frustration or confusion be the highest leader of this, my path. I trusted that there was a reason I was in a group of all German speakers. I had to ask God for that, I never knew where our next stop was, or how long I was going to be for, or how long we would be on the bus, or what wonderful things they might be discussing with each other. But it caused me to go deep, deep, deep into this quiet place inside and trust that whatever the next step was going to be, it was offered to me with loving arms. And when I cried because of trauma I was letting go of, the German-speaking healers around me would open their hearts to me and their arms and let me in their space. Also, we'd share beer or wine or cigarettes or laughter or water, etc. at night, and Turkish coffee breaks throughout the day. I got countless impressions in my heart from loved ones I've lost years and years ago. I felt their communication and their comfort. If I was busy speaking and listening to the tour guide who was speaking in German, I would have surely missed these loving conveyances. Too beautiful to try to write down here. So I'll end this part of the story here. I was just going to post pictures of Mary's house. After I went to Mary's house in Ephesus, I never wanted to go back to church. The deep love and peace and acceptance and welcoming she had in her heart for all visitors there was like literally 1,000,000 times more than I have felt in any church. It was so serene there, so peaceful. Mary went there after the resurrection and ascension of Christ. And I'm not here to bring up any specific religions, but just go to this place with a heart full of love, of surrender, and entering into the mystery via awe as a living poet, and you won't need anyone to explain any religion to you ever again. I could feel in the deepest part of my being that she welcomed me into her heart, as she welcomed the Christ into her womb. It was so surprising to me because I had no expectation of that. She willingly gave me her heart and I gave her mine, and Christ did the same and I gave my heart to Christ. Not in a 4-step booklet that someone will shove in your hand in a man-made church, but as if Christ himself showed up and said, "You are the loveliest love of my life, and I love you with all of my being. Would you like to be married to me?" Who in the world, who is living as an artist and a poet and a sufferer of many heartbreaks, would ever reject when such a perfect love is truly offered? There was no guile, there was no sense of deception in it, or someone who was going to break my heart again. I don't even care if he chooses to break it, or Mary does. I see who they are, and they won't. People might, the church might, in their limited funneling of these higher loves and mystical truths. But Christ was sincere, so of course I said yes to them both. That was one moment of time. I pray that they hold me close to their hearts as I misstep and learn some every day. I wish each of you this profound, nameless love that was so easily offered to me by every spiritual being and experience I had on this journey to Turkey with my fellow sensitive travelers, whom I love now with all my heart and being. We didn't need to speak the same outer language, we spoke the same inner language, and they will always be woven into the fabric of my heart. They stopped for every stray dog to pet them or every stray cat and lay down on the ground next to flowers to get pictures with the flowers. We all watched the sunrises and sunsets together or apart. Everything was beyond words magical. One last thing I was reminded of this morning. Namaste, I was told means my soul self sees and bows to and welcomes your soul self. My soul self was seen, welcomed, and loved. How can I not now see my own soul self still, and welcome and love her, and see and welcome each of you? I wish you so much love, peace, and confidence on your journey. Namaste and love, Cheryl. P.S. Leave your egos outside the door. It makes for such a beautiful life, the bella vita. Anyway, there's the post. Much love to you, Marcia.